El Salvador's legislature approves landmark digital securities bill, paving way for Bitcoin bonds. What's going on, guys? Brandon here. Landmark, humanity-changing legislation, and brought to you by the people who are actually for freedom, for humanity, for all of humanity, everywhere. Whether you're a homeless person in San Francisco, you're a couple in Nigeria, you are a single dude or single woman in Poland, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You are safe if you are in Bitcoin. And El Salvador is paving the way, doing things that, quite honestly, America used to do. Used to pave the way for things like this. Used to be the country of freedom, of liberty, of free markets, capitalism, and we really haven't. We've been on the decline for the last 100 years because of central banking and the powers that be that want to uproot that from its roots, non-ironically. So, the Bitcoin magazine, there's many others, Al Jazeera pointing this out as to what's going on, passing a new law on cryptocurrency transfers. And really, at the end of the day, long story short, long story long, as my wife likes to make me say, but long story short, this is saying that Bitcoin is money. And I think it's down here in a tweet. Well, the tweet, Bitcoin is money, and everything else is a security. And the fact that Gary Gensler isn't out there saying the same thing over the last couple of years and got a lot of people wrecked in the case because of it, because they're doing who knows what with SBF, and they're palling around Maxine Waters, Gary Gensler, and these people that are supposed to be doing their job to protect the people. This is why these things are pointless anyway. Like, shouldn't the average person sit there and say, I don't even know why we have the SEC and Gary Gensler, because his job was to actually protect the people that got wrecked in Voyager, in Celsius, in FTX, in all these things that got blown up in 2022. Yet he's out here pounding around with SBF, and just the fact that the average person isn't sitting there and just blown away at what's going on and immediately running, swapping their currency, their fiat currency, for Bitcoin and the actual decentralized, immutable product, the only thing we have in the world, and removing themselves from that system is mind-blowing to me. Absolutely mind-blowing. However, time will take its course, and people will realize it. And El Salvador is just ahead of the curve. And history just kind of does this thing where people get it, a few people get it, and then eventually others get it and others follow. But El Salvador is, and their stats prove it out, from all the FUD and the New York Times and all these IMF and all these alphabet soup agencies that are saying that El Salvador is doing this and they're doing terrible and what a joke. It's just hilarious, because when you look at all the stats, what's actually going on, their GDP is up, 50, 50x or 100x more than, I got to think of the numbers, but they're up like 30 or 50 billion on their GDP numbers, tourism, things like that, and then they're down $1 billion or something like that, around there in numbers, in paper losses. Paper losses. They haven't locked them in. They haven't sold any Bitcoin, but all the people talk about is like, oh, look, the price of Bitcoin went down in fiat terms, mind you. So look at the El Salvador. That really didn't play well. Yet they're only down in paper. So if they sold, then they'd lock in a loss, but they didn't sell anything. They're holding it. They're long-term holders. So they haven't lost anything, and they're only down a fraction of what they have done for their economy, which is 50 times greater. If you're up 50 billion or 25 billion or 50 billion, but you're down in this investment over here $1 billion on paper, you haven't even sold it yet. You're just down in paper terms. Wouldn't you take that trade? I'll leave that for you to decide, and you can learn more about El Salvador. We'll kind of talk about El Salvador more as we go forward here, but it's truly amazing to see what's going on here, and the freedom they are ushering in here in El Salvador, and being a beacon, a shining city on the hill at the end of the day. So this law is huge. This is why we go to places like Al Jazeera. We go to all the places: Fox News, CNN, Bloomberg, CNBC, Al Jazeera, UK Guardian, Sky News. It doesn't matter. We go to all sites. We go to alternative sites. We go to mainstream sites. We go to anywhere we need to find to try to triangulate truth and question everything. That's what our job is, to question everything, do our due diligence, do our research. And it doesn't take that long. What we try to do is try to provide that here each day in a little bit of time, but it doesn't take that long. And in money, it's funny, I always talk about Band-Aids on bullet holes, but money affects every single thing you do in your life. It's literally the thing you trade 6, 8, 10, 12 hours a day for. So that probably should be the first thing you understand, the first thing you learn, if you ask me, because then that helps. That's our first principle. It's the foundation of the life we have all built. So if you get that foundational piece right and you understand money, then everything else flowing from there can then heal correctly. And that's why Bitcoiners say fix the money, fix the world, because it's so important, because it's a foundational piece of whether we're going to have a good moral society and just society, or a society we live in now that's culturally rotten. It's a war on our consciences, a war on morality. And this is just what we live in at the end of the day. So what kind of society are we going to have? What do we want? And you can say God leaves first, and we leave God, and we don't need God, or he doesn't need us, but we need God. So we leave God, and then the money goes very quickly, after. And you can make that case, as many people have in the 60s. We really left God. We started leaving God. We knew better. We knew we were better than that. We had the military-industrial complex spin up. The hippies knew better. The military-industrial complex knew better. We're gonna go to war, and then we got people over here saying, free love. We can do whatever we want. We can do anything we want. We're smarter than the big guy upstairs. And again, you don't have to believe in God for him to be real or not, because he exists. Nature's law takes precedent. Physics and math take precedent as well. That's part of God's law and nature's law. So you can say whatever you want, and you can deny. It doesn't matter. As Ayn Rand said, you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of reality. So that's all we do here. At the end of the day, we try to humble ourselves and understand there's something bigger at play than every single one of us. We're this little speck of sand, this little grain of sand on this pale blue dot in this more than ginormous universe. So if we don't think there's something bigger than us, then we now become bigger than the game, bigger than everything, and we think the world revolves around us, and it does not. It does not revolve around me. It does not revolve around anyone that I know, and that's the humbling. That's really, at the end of the day, that's what God helps you understand, quite honestly, is that you aren't the center of everything, and that's kind of the point of all of it, is you aren't the center. The humans aren't the center of everything, and when we get too high on our horse, then we think we can do everything and anything. This is why they corrupt the money. And when I say they, the unproductive class, the people at the top, is they think I'm bigger than everyone. I'm smarter than everyone. I can make decisions for them in their lives better than they could. So I need to have all the decision-making power. I need to have the centrally command and control economy. And I'm going to do everything for you, cradle to grave. And just give me the power. That's exactly antithetical to human nature, to God's law, to nature's law, into math and science and physics. So Bitcoin ushers that back in. Bitcoin fixes that. It's literally rooted on math and physics and energy and nature's law and thermodynamics. That is where you start going down this rabbit hole, and you start seeing, oh my goodness, once we fix this, we fix everything. And Nayib Bukele, again, I don't know the guy. I don't know him, but all I know is that he's a dictator, not a dictator. It doesn't matter. He's giving his people unconfiscatable, immutable, uncensorable money. I don't know many dictators that would do that. It's not a smart move if you're a dictator to do that. I will say that. So it's very interesting. Bold move, Cotton, as they say in the movie Dodgeball. So, we have this going on. You can go check this out at Bitcoin Magazine. And the volcano bonds that are coming up, which are going to blow the socks off Wall Street. You're going to see bonds really crater. And again, we know, life insurance, insurance companies, banks, they are predicated a lot of what they do off insurance, off of the bond markets, off the stock markets. And as this stuff gets eaten away by Bitcoin and the volcano bonds and the price of Bitcoin in fiat terms going up and the value of Bitcoin going up and up in the next 2, 5, 10, 20 years, you're going to see these other assets crater in terms of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is just going to be the apex predator asset that it's always been for 15, 14 years. And it's going to continue. People are going to, and like we said, many times we show this, the debt is continue going up. That's going to happen. If you hold Bitcoin, this is your wealth if you hold dollars against Bitcoin, you just go through the floor and it craters. And this is your life if you choose to hold dollars, and your life gets continually more expensive. This is your eggs purchasing in dollars, your purchasing power in dollars over the last 40 years. And here we have the last 7 or 8 years. If you hold in Bitcoin, here's your purchasing power in eggs. You can buy entire farms worth of eggs if you want to. So again, we have a choice in front of us. We can have the hardest asset ever known to human beings, one that can't be diluted, debased. The unproductive class has nothing they can do about it, or we can have the fiat currencies through them and just have everything sucked away from us. So it's up to us. It's up to us at the end of the day. So what is it we want to do? Do we want to be in the future? Do we want to be passing actual freedom laws and having our SEC do their job and actually protect people? Or why even have it at all? Why even have it? We should probably abolish the IRS. We should probably abolish the SEC because they're not doing anything. All they're doing is keeping the little guy out of, well, you got to be an accredited investor. Why? You're letting people just gamble in the VC casino here on Coinbase and all altcoins and scam coins, all that. That's what that is. Why shouldn't you have to be an accredited investor there? They're just dragging their feet and not doing their job. So why even have the SEC? Why have the IRS? Well, I know, again, why we have the income tax, like we said yesterday. It's because of the creation of the Federal Reserve. It's a progressive income tax. Two of the tenets in the Communist Manifesto: a progressive income tax and a central bank. 2 of the 10 points needed to have communism in this country, which means you own nothing and you'll be happy. Now we're coming full circle to the World Economic Forum. You can see how this is all by design. This is not some kabuki theater. This is literally in their own words. You check the last couple of videos. We talk about this whole progression of why these things are happening by design and the whole layering of what's happened. This is not some overnight thing. This is not some vast conspiracy. This is literally in their own words, their books, Tragedy and Hope, The Great Reset, The Great Narrative, decades of video, of books, a century and a half of the Communist Manifesto playing itself out. And we have all those planks. So what are we going to do? Are we going to take CBDCs, the final nail in the coffin for complete control of command and control economies and slavery, central bank digital currencies where the government spies on everything you do and shuts your money off when they don't want you to do something? Or are we going to choose Bitcoin and freedom? Well, clearly El Salvador is choosing the freedom route, and there are other talks on the table of other countries coming here this year in line. So we'll see. What do you choose? But the beautiful thing is your country doesn't have to choose. You can choose. You can choose. This is not financial advice. This is freedom advice. Please get independent, get resilient. Bitcoin, get some gold and silver, some security, some food, some energy, and some water. Build some community. This is what we're doing here, building community of like-minded people. And if we can build a community of like-minded people who are asking why and digging deep and actually trying to inform themselves as to what's going on, not putting their head in the sand, we're going to be much, much better off. And we're going to be a much more independent society with liberty, with free markets, with a merit-based society. So I appreciate your time and energy. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Please share it if there is something that you liked in this that riveted you. Please let me know. And if you don't like it, please let me know as well. We can battle out in the comments, but please share it with someone that you think might need this, might need to hear this, or is just on the edge or needs to hear it from someone else. Please let them know. And again, I appreciate your time. It's the most important asset we have. It's the only finite asset we have, like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is time and time is Bitcoin. Again, money is just a container. It's just a container for your time and energy. We work all day with our time and energy, trading time and energy for money. Are you going to put that time and energy inside of a container with a hole in it, a fiat currency that's just leaking out through inflation, or are we going to put it in a container that's finite? Bitcoin, the perfectly finite container, a finite asset for a finite time. Thank you. See you on the next one.